Hey everyone, today's video springboards off the last video I did concerning check your spare tire. Highly recommend you check out that video. I'll put a link in the description. But today's video is about doing a review on tire inflators. I'm going to tell you what I like about particular models of inflators and also what I do not like about them. So the first unit here, I'm going to call this the Good. This is made by a company called Airtight. We got this at Rock Auto. It was about $25 and some change. Just to make mention, everything else moving forward, we're not sponsored by anybody. Everything you see and pictured here is paid with our own money. So this particular tire inflator, what I like about it right off the bat is it has separate switches for power on and also the light. Also, these switches here, they feel like quality switches. They don't feel like something that's going to break after, multiple times of use. Another thing that I really like about this particular tire inflator and why we chose it is the gauge. This gauge goes up to 150 psi. It's very easy to read as far as pumping up your average car tire to, let's just say, roughly 35 pounds or wherever you like to set it at. It makes it simple, and that's one of the reasons why we chose this, because we want simple. Another reason we chose this particular model, because at the end of the air hose, this chuck is a screw-on type. So that's why we bought this particular unit. Not much else comes with it. You get instructions, which are pretty much not needed. A little accessory bag to blow up your basketball, and who knows, maybe your air mattress or blow-up doll or whatever you need these things for. I'm never going to use these. But this is a good compressor. We've already used this and it performs well. Another thing I like about this unit is that the air hose, when you're done using it, it wraps up around the perimeter of it. And also on the back side, the cord, where you put the cord in, there's a nice big easy access hole for you to pack that away. On the top of this model, it has a built-in light with 5 LEDs. Here's something on the box that's a little comical. Inflates standard car tire in under 4 minutes, asterisk. See small print. Performance based upon 175/70 R13 tire to 30 psi. So in other words, if you own a smart car, I guess this will do it in 4 minutes. If you own any kind of other regular car or maybe a truck, it's going to take a little bit longer than 4 minutes to pump up your tire. The cord on this unit is 9 feet long. Honestly, I wish it would be like about 12 feet. Give me just a little extra length. But 9 feet seems to do it to reach every single tire for at least our cars here at home. Next up is this model. It's got the Goodyear name on it. They don't actually make it. It's a licensed trademark. It's made by a company called Creative Brands, but it does carry this logo. This one, in my opinion, I'm going to call the bad compressor because I wish we didn't buy this. The one pro for this unit is that it does have the quick release chuck at the end of the air hose. Most tire inflators do. However, if you take a look at the video I was mentioning about the spare tire, to check your spare tire, this particular unit, the throat here on the end of the chuck is not very long, and since the valve stem in the spare tire is recessed in a little hole, it was making it incredibly difficult for us to get on and pump up the spare tire. Now let's move on to the cons of this unit. First off, there's only one button on and off. The button just feels just okay. It's a spring-loaded button. Hopefully one day it's not going to pop out and render the unit inoperative. When you plug the cord into your power outlet, the light on the side comes on. It has 3 LEDs. The first model I went over has a light too, has 5 LEDs. It doesn't really matter because the brightness is about the same between the two models. The one thing I really do not like about this tire inflator is the gauge. This gauge here and this inflator goes up to 300 psi, which is insane. I don't know if I'd ever inflate anything, anywhere, anytime at over 75 psi. So what that means is if you're pumping up a car tire, this gauge, the needle is barely going to move, and each little tick here under 40 is 10 pounds. So it's going to make it very difficult to get an accurate pressure using this tire inflator, And more than likely, you're going to have to overinflate it, let some air out, and use a separate tire gauge to set the correct pressure. Also, stowing away the cord, there's a little small recessed area in here. The cord just pretty much just wraps around the unit. After you're done wrapping it around the unit, the plug just kind of goes in the bottom here. You got to clip that in to hold it. That could be designed a little better, but minor gripe. But the thing that really irritates me about this particular compressor, 300 psi gauge. This does not have an auto shutoff, neither does the first one I went over to as well. When you turn these on, you better be beside the tire, and once it gets to the correct pressure, turn it off. Also, to stow away the air hose, you're going to have to wrap it up here in circular fashion in order to get everything back inside here. Minor gripe, but I think it was a little bit better the way the cord stows away on the first model I went over. Here's something else that's interesting. This model comes with a little accessory pack too, just like the first one I went over. Almost looks the same here. Although with this model, they kind of cheapened out a little bit here on the basketball needle. It's metal and then it goes into plastic. On the first unit I went over, it's a full metal needle. It's not like I'm ever going to use it probably on either one, but still, it just says they cut a few pennies here off of this one by doing that. Prior to the two compressors I just shown, we had another one that was manufactured by a company called Slime. We picked it up at the local auto parts store. I think it was about $40 or $50. It gave up the ghost after a number of years. I'm definitely not going out and buying the same brand. It had a few features in it that the two I just shown do not have, which would be the digital gauge in it, which I really don't think is needed if they've got an accurate analog one. And it also had an automatic shutoff built into it. The thing I did not like about this particular compressor is the power button and the light button were right next to each other, and the icons wore off rather quickly. So when I would go to use it, I would push the button, think I'm turning it on, but I'd be turning the light on and off. So I put a piece of tape over the light button because, well, I just frankly never ever use it. Also too, below the display, you're going to see 3 unlabeled buttons in a row. The one on the left, I believe, was for pressure up. The one on the middle was for pressure down. And the one on the right was from changing it to PSI over to the metric system, in case you're not in the States. This particular compressor, I had to take a Sharpie marker to and write plus above the up button to raise the pressure, minus in Sharpie above that button to lower the pressure in case I'm switching from pumping up a car tire to, let's say, a bicycle tire and then back again. The third button that was on there from standard to metric, I should have just put a piece of tape over that because I never used it and I didn't want it to switch over and all of a sudden start inflating things to the wrong pressure. Okay, so these are wrapped up back in the boxes. This one's going to go in the trunk of the little lady's car because it's a little easier to use, and she really likes it because of that screw-on adapter. I'm going to put that one in the trunk of my car. Hopefully I don't ever have to use it because I really don't like that particular model. These are both non-automatic shut-off models, so if you get either one, you're going to have to maintain and watch as it pumps up the tire because this particular one will go to 150 psi. That one over there will go to 300 psi. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. That one just sucks. Also, too, the LED lights that are built into both units, I would highly recommend just get a regular flashlight. The brightness difference between this and the two units I went over, this is just a whole lot brighter. Now, there was one other unit that we were considering buying before we bought this one here at Rock Auto. It's made by the same company, Airtight. And the reason I say best, it might be the easiest to use for most people, and it's also the best bang for the buck. It comes with that chuck, like on this one here, where it's just the lever to slips on and you just clamp it down. It's pretty easy. This one here, you have to screw it on, which if you don't have valve stem caps and your valve stem is a little corroded, this might be a little harder to get the air hose on. Here, I'm going to pull a picture up of that one. That particular one is only $15 and change. With a little tax and shipping, we're talking what, a little over 20 bucks. You could put something like that in the trunk of your car. You may never ever have to use it, but if you do, you're not going to be searching for a gas station or whatever it costs, $1 or $2 to pump up your tire, or whatever it is with inflation nowadays. Maybe someday somebody else is going to ask you to come to their rescue, and you'll have an inflator in the trunk of your car, and you'll be able to help them out. So I hope going over all of these models helped you make a more informed decision on what you think is best for you. I think that everybody would be best having something like this in the trunk of their car, regardless if they need it or not. So I hope you enjoyed the tips I have for you here today, and as always, thanks for watching.